So again, the first one, territory management. A couple of things on this. Really, the strategy is to make sure that our counselors are really in tune and have a pulse on their territory. Our counselors have a wide variety of people they need to work with, 750 applicants. We need to get those to admits, and of course, we need to enroll them. And so we want them to stay on task and know who's in my pipeline and who's new in my pipeline, especially now as we're getting close to the start. We want to know who those fresh applicants are so we can really hit them hard and get them to enroll, hopefully, within this next month. And we also use it to track territory follow-up. And then who uses that, of course? It's our director of admission, assistant directors, and then our counselors predominantly. And now what I want to do is I'm actually going to go into our instance for you and show you some live dashboard reports that we utilize. So give me a second to get coordinated here. Okay. So this is our freshman follow-up dashboard. So this is the one that our admissions counselors use every day. And we have identified 5 different follow-up points within the recruitment cycle that we have deemed important for our counselors to follow up on. The first thing would be at the point of application. So when a student applies, we want to make sure that our counselors are communicating with them. The second point of communication would be when they're admitted. The third for us is registration days. The fourth is housing, and then the fifth is financial aid. So those are the 5 requirements of each one of our counselors. And I know that you all are going to have those different follow-up points within your own office, so I challenge you to think about those and how that might play into creating a reporting structure to help your counselors identify those folks to follow up with and for what reason they're following up. So as you can see here, this is the pending follow-up report. So this is going to show us our pending applicants, so those people who haven't been able to be reviewed for admission yet. Maybe we're pending an application fee or a transcript or test scores, whatever it might be, we can see our pending folks. And you can sort these in a variety of ways. You can set up your reports to display different data sets here. But what we have it sorted by is application date and then by the recruiter, so we can segment out territories. And just an FYI for the recruiters, we do bulk edits for our different territories or responsibilities, and then we do assign an admissions counselor because having that attribute then allows us to report on it and pull it into a report like this. So if I wanted to look at Andrew's pending applications for the entire year, Andrew's done really well. He only has 51 total pending applications, so he's done a very good job this year. If I want to see the overall, I'm just going to scroll over to the right. You can see that we have 911 total pending applications at this point in time. Now, if you're looking for your hotter leads, of course, you'd want to look in July here, and you can scroll over and see, who are those hot leads, who are my new applicants who are still pending. Those are the people we really want to follow up with. Now, I know some of you are Connect users already and are in the reporting structure, so sorry if I'm a little redundant. You might know some of this. For those of you who are new users or maybe haven't used the reports function, I want to show you what happens when you click on one of these numbers. So any of these numbers are live, and if you click on any of these numbers, it's going to take you to a different area within Connect. So let's just click on Andrew's 18 pending folks from the month of November. So now it's going to show me those contacts in what we call the Contacts Navigator. And really what this is a layout for you that you can then decide to export this data if you choose, or you can sort these different columns. And all the data fields that are displayed here are actually customizable, so you can customize which view your counselors have. And this is really important because if you have executive members of your team accessing reports at some point in time, they might not want to see the 100 fields that your admissions counselors see. So you want to think about that and create different views for those executive team members or different folks, so you're not really overwhelming them with data. You just want to give them what they need and what they need only to not confuse the issue. But one of the really cool features here is that if you actually just click on an ID number, it's going to bring up the student's record. And this plays into some of the required follow-up that I'll go into a little bit more in detail, but as you all know, you have the personal contact information for the student. Here's where I can see why my student's pending. The student is just waiting for their ACT scores. Looks like they applied online. Looks like we received a FAFSA, so that's a good indication that they may enroll at some point. But then here's our follow-up attributes. These are really important and have really changed the game for us in terms of follow-up with our counselors and keeping our counselors on task, and also being able to share workload. So if we have a counselor who is going out on maternity leave, for example, which has happened a few times for us recently, we want to make sure that we can backfill that person's work, and by having a streamlined process that everyone utilizes for follow-up, it's going to allow us to know who hasn't been followed up with yet. So these are our follow-up attributes. So this person was contacted for being pending. They contacted them by phone on this day, and it looks like it hasn't been completed yet, so that student didn't answer that phone call. So we know we need to keep trying other forms of communication until we close that communication or reach the student. However, this has been one of our lessons learned, and I will talk to you about how we've strategized and restructured this follow-up process in just a minute. But the last thing I want to show you in a live instance is some of those goal gauges that we've created. And so we have territory goals slated for every single counselor for applicants, admits, and enrolls, and we put them up on a dashboard for everyone to see. It keeps our counselors not only on task, but it also creates a healthy competitive environment. It also helps us keep track of those territories that are slow moving. About a 100-mile radius from Moorhead, those applicants tend to move slower. We're kind of on the back burner for them. They don't think they need to apply right away. And so we really heat up around this time of the year for those local regional applicants, so we can monitor the progress for those applications and really keep a pulse on what's going on. And not only does that help our counselors, but it helps myself in different communication strategies, and it certainly helps Sarah in her job as well, as she's providing vision and oversight for our office.